face. High in face. Lemon face. High in face. Welcome. Oh shit. I am blowing the fuck out right now because my shit is on 35 and it should be about 29 or 27. Hello. Hello. Is there anybody out there?
Is there anybody out there?
I miss talking to you. How are
Yeah,
you?
it's been a while. Yeah, we haven't chatted in a while. I mean, we've both been busy dudes. Hmm?
We started doing this about a year ago, kind of.
Yeah. We did a couple of those Blu-ray chats with a
Yeah, but that
big
was a
crowds.
year ago, Steven.
Was that a year ago? Oh my
No,
God,
that was not a year ago. That was this year. I'm talking.
that
We
was
did
this
the
year.
hold on, the hold out,
The hold up.
the hold up. I can never remember. Come on, don't hold that against me.
I'm quizzing you, man. I'm
Don't
keeping points.
don't hold that against me.
I'll hold it up
Right.
against
We
you.
did the hold up. We did the hold up back to back, and then we did the set. We did that really grim movie.
Oh, that's right. The divide.
Decline. The divide.
Yeah, that was cheerful.
You know what's funny though? At the time, I said to you, I said, "Hey, Steven, this is the anti-Rent." And then I started. I was like watching Rent a lot for some reason. Don't ask me why. I was watching Rent so much, but I was watching Rent, and I was like, "Wait a minute, Rent is really depressing too." So it's not the anti-Rent. It's just Rent in
It's
the
just
apocalypse.
in the apocalypse.
Everybody's gonna die, you know. Spoilers.
Spoiler. Yeah, Jen did a watch party last night with some friends of ours, and they watched The Ruins, and I did not watch The Ruins. Have you seen The Ruins? Because I'm about to spoil the end.
Really good.
Yeah, she told me the whole thing, which is fine. Like
Spoiled it for you?
yeah, I'm fine with it. But like apparently, so the ruins, the bad guy, the monster, turns out to be plants, and all the
Spoilers.
big spoilers, huge spoilers are about to come. Because she was complaining about the very end of it, where like the final girl escapes past the Mayans, and the Mayans are trying to keep everybody there because they don't want this plant getting out, and this girl escapes even though she's like covered in the plant, and now the world's gonna die. Like, that's gonna be the end of it, you know?
Pretty much. And then there's like there was something with something. There was like something. Yeah, Hugh was right. He says it was
okay, kind of creep
show. And Sinead, I'm sorry if I'm
Sinead?
mispronouncing. Sinead, sorry. I'm so
Problem.
sorry for mispronouncing your name. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the channel.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, it was one of the it was one. It was just like the world is going to end.
The world, yeah. I got the sense. Okay, so I did not watch it with her. I want to make that clear before I say anything else. I did not watch it with her. I did not get the sense though that the movie itself was really kind of aware of that. It kind of seemed like the end was, according to the tenor of the movie, like a victory. Like it wasn't like. I told her there should have been a scene. I told her there's.
Wait! You're writing the movie.
I am. You've seen it. They should have. The woman should have gotten away. She should have gotten back to her plane and been on the plane back to the U.S. And then, like, she falls asleep on the plane, and she wakes up halfway through the flight, and she looks next to her, and there's a woman sitting next to her with a baby in her arms, and the baby has like the plants moving underneath the skin. That would have been a good end of the movie.
That would have been a fucked up end of the movie. Hugh, tell me if my mic sounds better now. I've turned it up, even though I'm clipping a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, those plants talk, Steven. The plants talk.
Do they?
Yeah, they talk. They actually talk. They use wind. They manipulate the winds. They can speak. It's a very Stephen King-esque. I know we just mentioned Creepshow, but it is very Stephen King-esque. So you didn't see. Tell me, you didn't watch the amusement park, did you?
No, not yet. Not yet. That's on my list.
Good.
I'm excited about that.
I really enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really. I think it's kind of. It is a lost George Romero film, but not really, because it's like he shot a lot of industrial films, and it's just an industrial film being marketed
Mhm.
as a horror film, and it's not really, it borderlines horror, but it's not, it's an industrial film. That's how I
Yeah,
can think about it.
I understand it. Please correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause I haven't watched it yet, but, like, it was he was hired to do this industrial and then kinda went on a Romero tangent in the middle of it or
Yeah,
something like that? Yeah.
perfect way to describe it.
Okay.
And I mean, that's just like, that's so Romero of Romero, like that's very much, but he did that a lot when he in I think it was Laurel Entertainment, which is the company that he formed with Richard Rubenstein after Image 10. Image 10 kind of dissolves a little bit.
Oh, I
He's
remember
still
Image.
working with Heinzman, who plays the cemetery zombie in Night of the Living
Mm.
Dead 1968. Heinzman is a Renaissance man, jack of all trades, cinematographer, director, writer, producer. He made a movie called The Flesh Eaters in 1988, which was where he kind of reprised his role as the cemetery ghoul, and it's not a terribly good film, but um, but him and George continue to work together when he was just kind of doing these they were doing industrial films in the mid
Yeah, yeah.
70s to pay the bills, basically. I mean,
I
listen,
mean, listen, I don't know, I cut you off. My bad.
no, go ahead, please.
So I lament my situation a lot, and I've become over the last year and a half. I've become increasingly uh, aware of the privilege that I have in lamenting it. Because like I,
Yeah,
5 years ago, like when I met I bet Michael and Sophia, for instance, like, right? They're two people who
yeah,
have made a conscious choice to pursue their pursuits, right? They make movies for a living, and sometimes they do it for other people, sometimes they do it for themselves. Meanwhile, I work a
right,
day job and I make movies on the side whenever I can afford it. And
right.
a long time I complained about that. Um, and then this last year and a half happened, and like all my good friends who are engaging creative pursuits full time got kind of just raked. I don't know what our profanity rule is here
You
on the
can say
Jeff
whatever
show.
you want.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Everybody got fucked, right? Like everybody got totally screwed. And meanwhile, I am, like I was saying earlier, I'm working from home right now in my
Right.
shitty day job, and I should shut the fuck up. I should be happy that I still have paychecks and whatever. But anyway, my point was, God, if you can get the stable work behind a camera, man, that sounds cool to me. Like if it's, I don't know how
So here's
stable it
the
was
thing.
for Romero.
Oh man, this is such a great topic. I have so
Uh,
much to say about it. So here's the thing. Here's the way I slice it. I I do agree with what you're saying, but I also, my fear, and again, I only speak for me. I don't
mhm,
speak for
of
anybody
course,
else, because
sure.
there are some people that most certainly love. I'm sure that there are filmmakers that love to pay the bills by, shooting instead of having to go work some straight job.
Mhm,
Because I hate working straight jobs too. But at the same time, there is something to be said for, if it becomes your job, if your money is connected to the thing,
mhm,
then then your relationship with it in your private life or your professional life, we're kind of like all sort of like this breed of, indie filmmaker who
yeah,
has a straight job, but also kind of considers themselves having a career and trying to make art, not necessarily for profit, but to like, because this is what we have to do, because this is who we
right,
are. And,
right,
it's part of our identity. And I feel okay not speaking in I statements for that, because I know I've spoken to so many people that like, feel that way. And
yeah,
so for
yeah.
me, I always wonder, and there were a couple of times, there were a couple opportunities. Like I recently, I had a gig editing lawyer commercials, and it was
Oh yeah,
actually really easy to do. And it was pretty simple and straightforward. And the money was really, really good. But it was a freelance, it was a one-time freelance gig that was an audition. Excuse me. It was an audition.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. It was an audition for regular contract work. And I'm glad that it didn't work out, because I could just imagine all the editing that I do already, and then being burnt out and having to go like be like, no, this is like how I make money. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's a catch-22. I don't know.
No.
I'll tell you, I had a interesting thought, Stephen, and maybe this sounds crazy. I was in Trader Joe's the other day because my unemployment's about to run out, and I'm at a point where and I like had a gig here and a gig there, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of like I'm looking like where can I work part time while I still try to grind at this YouTube thing.
I hear that's a
And
company, by the way, that's pretty decent to its employees. That's what I've read.
what
Trader
YouTube?
Joe's. If that, oh no, not
Trader
YouTube.
Joe's. Oh, you're like not YouTube.
No, not
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. I was at Trader Joe's. I mean, look, I'm wearing the shirt, right? I'm already dressed for the part. I was kind of wearing a shirt like this. I'm in Trader Joe's and I'm just kind of looking around and I'm seeing people of all walks of life. Like, there's you see a lot of older people, like
Mhm.
older people working there. I'm just kind of going like, I think this is where I belong. Like, this is where I should be, like, in a part-time role where I can get benefits, I can have a 401k, I can, yeah, Mark says it right here. He says the Whole Foods gang. I mean, same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Same exact thing. Some sort of situation where it's like mindless work where you get benefits and then it's like, okay, now I got to go and do the thing that really matters,
Yeah, I long for work where I don't know. I long for one of two things. Like when it comes to a day job, I long for either something that I can get invested in and feel good about and treat like my career, or something that I can fucking leave at work when I go home. And I've been spending the last, I don't know, 20-ish years like hovering between these areas where it's like I'm not important enough that I can just wash my hands at 5 o'clock and go home, but um uh I'm too high up that I don't get the messages, the text
Right.
messages in the middle of the night, and I'm still worried about, okay, well, fuck, what are we going to do this semester about replacing this inventory system or whatever. And it's this middle ground area that makes me a little kind of crazy.
Man, I can just imagine. I'll tell you, I was in a job last year. By the way, Hugh is asking
Oh
if
yeah.
there's a trailer for your flick yet. Can you give that answer real quick?
For the one I'm trying to make right now, there
Yeah, Fat
is
Fleshy Fingers,
there
which we
is
haven't spoken about
a
yet.
we have not. There's a pitch video.
There's a pitch video. Go to
There's
the
a pitch video.
Kickstarter. You'll be able to see all
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I was in a salary position last year. I actually I was laid off this week a year ago. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
And and like, and what's amazing about that is like I hated my job so much that I was actually relieved when I got
Mhm,
laid off because I couldn't quit because I have a mortgage and stuff.
mhm.
And at the same time, kids and yada yada yada. But yet at the same time, I'm like dying inside.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
all of a sudden, I started jumping on YouTube. I got my account remonetized and I've started to build this, very small audience, but like a little community.
Yeah,
And I'm just thinking like, fuck, like man, I gotta grind this as hard as possible and get to a place where this is my day job.
yeah,
And then I'm
yeah.
really happy.
I mean, that's the
Like,
dream, like people, I don't know, people on the outside, maybe they don't get this. Like, um, we're not trying to be rich. We're not trying to, I don't think you're probably trying to
right.
be Logan Paul or some shit,
No.
right? You want to be in a
Well,
position where you can, fuck Logan Paul. God, I hate that guy so much.
hate him
Uh,
so much.
I
And his
hate him.
brother.
And they're both such
Hate them.
shit fuckers, man.
Oh, hate them so much.
But you want to be in a position where you can do the thing, where you can spend your day doing the
Right.
thing that makes you feel good.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you don't have to try to cram it into the interstices at the end of your day and on your weekends and stuff like that, right? Like you can
Yeah.
say, instead of doing something soulless 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and then trying to get something cathartic and creative done in the meantime, you do something that feels pretty good most of the time, even though it's work.
Right.
Like I'm not afraid of work. I've been on set. I know how to work. I just don't want
It
to
doesn't
work.
even feel like work. It's
It
not
doesn't.
work
Yeah.
work because you wanna do it. It's like what drives you. I'm driven to do all this YouTube stuff and all this,
Hmm.
filmmaking stuff and even just this podcast stuff. So, yes,
Yeah.
you're
It's just so much more. The fest. The fest is something like
right,
the first year I did it. I thought it would be a one-off. It'd be this fun thing I could do for a weekend. And then it was just so. I had never felt anything so fulfilling before. Never. And so
right.
yeah, I would just
It
like. I
made
wish I
you
could just.
high.
It did. It absolutely did. I
Yeah.
would just love to keep doing that, and let that be my thing. You know.
Let's tell our origin stories here
Sure.
because Mark is asking a question.
Hmm.
Mark, we saw your question. What movie inspired you to start your filmmaking career? I have an origin story, but you go first. Let's hear yours. Let's hear
Well,
what your
um, so I think I don't want to be too squirrely. I feel like I have two answers here. I think there's a movie that made me realize I wanted to be a filmmaker, but then between that there was or after that there was a long period of time when I didn't know what my voice was. And then I saw another movie that I, it sounds like an exaggeration. It really changed my life and made me realize, okay, this is what I want to do. And that led to me actually making movies. Whereas in between, it was just like, yeah, it'd be really cool to be a filmmaker. So the movie, sorry, it was Mark. Was anyway.
Yeah, that
Um,
was Mark. That was Mark. What's up, Chris? By the way, evening, Chris.
answer
Go ahead.
A, believe it or not, was Alien 3, was the movie that made me realize, holy shit, I love movies so much. This is like I've been watching them my whole life. Of course, they
Yeah,
were all my free time, but then I saw Alien 3 and I was
of
like,
course.
something changed. Something was like, oh my God, I want to do this. Now this is something I want to do. And then
Right.
I went a lot of years just kind of floundering in there, not really knowing what kind of movies I wanted to make, what kind of an artist I was, or anything like that. And then in 2013, I know it's late. In 2013, I saw a short film called Wadup by a guy named Steve Gerard, and
Yeah.
it
Oh,
fucking changed my life.
I've heard you talk about this film. Hold on.
I,
Go back to
yeah,
the Alien 3 for
sure,
just a
sure, sure.
second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you see you're watching Alien 3. I just want to
Mhm.
marinate in this for a minute. You're watching Alien 3 and what
On
is the thought?
VHS.
Yeah, what is the thought that's going through your mind though when you're watching it? Like
The
how does that
at
work?
at the top of it was, um, I have never seen anything this bleak.
Gotcha.
Now, since then I had. Like before this point, I was really mostly
Oh yes,
mainstream
you
watching.
have.
But yeah, I definitely have since then. But at that point in my life, I was like, I have never seen anything this just merciless, you know? And
Right,
at the same time, I was thinking, okay, this movie, Aliens, the Cameron Aliens, loomed
right.
larger in my mind than Alien did at the time, at this point in my life. Um, that's funny. The I read the Gibson script too, and I thought the Gibson script was a lot of fun, but I really think Alien 3 was something that was just like so unexpected, so out of
And
like,
there's a wooden planet at one
yeah,
point.
oh yeah, I remember the Wooden Planet. Yeah, yeah. I, I thought the movie. Okay, so Alien 3 started with Newt, fucking Hicks and Newt. Just not Hicks. Yeah, Hicks
Yeah,
and Newt.
Hicks and Newt.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
They
Hicks and
both
Newt
die.
dead off screen.
Spoilers.
I mean, it's like the first minute of the movie, right?
Yeah,
But they're dead
yeah.
off screen, and it was like I suddenly knew that all the rules that I had sort of taken for granted, like in Aliens, you knew that most of the Marines were going to die. You knew Sigourney Weaver was going to live. You knew that Newt was going to live from the beginning. You knew most of the Marines would die. Would it be Hicks? Would Hicks live or not? There's a little bit of uncertainty. Uh, but with Alien 3, you come in thinking, all right, it's going to be another Alien movie. We're going to have these structures that the movie's going to be built around. And in the first minute, they say, fuck you. No,
They
these,
subvert your expectations in the
absolutely.
very first minute.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then it's just this brutal, grim slog. This just like
Right.
August Doré painting come to life. I loved it. I'd never
It's
seen anything
great.
like it before.
The first 4 Alien, the first 4, whatever,
Mhm.
I love Alien Resurrection too, by that wonderful French director whose name I
Jean-Pierre
cannot pronounce.
Jeunet.
Yeah, he just makes phenomenal films. He did a
Oh,
great job, and he had his guy in
Delicatessen.
there
Ugh.
that weird guy.
Oh,
That
Dominique Pignon. The guy
Yeah,
in the chair in Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, the one
yeah,
from Delicatessen.
yeah.
Yeah, Dominique
He
Pignon. He's hilarious.
yeah,
I love
he's a
him.
great yeah, he's in Micmacs, he's in
Yeah,
Delicatessen, he's in a bunch of stuff.
he's in City of
And,
Lost Children like 6 times.
yes. And, I always thought, man, all of the I just love them all. So I always loved
Yeah,
Alien
yeah.
3. I never saw Charles Dance is great.
Yeah, he's
Um,
amazing. Ugh, so good.
they were always all of them were great.
Oh god, what's his name? Rock is the only thing I'm thinking of, but, why
Who?
can't I remember his name? Ah, oh no. The leader of the prisoners,
Black
yeah.
dude with glasses? I don't know,
Oh
but
my
he's
god.
awesome. And at the end, he's like,
Charles
"Come
Dutton.
on!"
Charles
He's like,
Dutton.
"Come
Yeah,
on!
yeah, 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 yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I can take it. I can take it. Is that all you got?" And
I love it.
you're just so like the sacrifice. It's just so beautiful, man. It's
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful. It's
it's
awesome.
incredible. I
Great
loved it
movie.
so much. Yeah, big
And even
fan.
as she's dying, even as she like does this, like, she backflops, it's like the most
Mhm,
beautiful death. It's like she accepts like going on this planet, like it's like the adversity that they must overcome to survive.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, just to exist, you know?
to exist, and then all of a sudden being like, there's no way I can, and accepting
Mhm,
the instead of like the idea of like maybe I can get out of this if I go with them, she's like, no, I'm going to die with this thing, you know. And
mhm.
because there is a metaphor too. Chris is saying right here, there's a backstory of the xenomorph, whether he is the devil himself is
Was,
touched on. The
Prisoner
prisoner
Gallic?
makes the deal with
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but what's interesting is it's almost like in a way, there's a metaphor for, rape and stuff in the first one, but in
Mhm.
this third one, it's like it's almost like motherhood and like deciding whether you want to become a mother or that she wants to become a mother or not because she's got the thing inside of her and she
Yeah, yeah.
chooses to sacrifice herself or whatever. But it's also kind of like this idea that like, it's almost like a continuation of that the connotations of rape in the sense that like, okay, now you have the baby of the monster, right?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
gonna keep it or am I going to like not keep it? And I choose death because I refuse to raise this monster.
Mhm.
So, it it goes all over the
It
place.
was yeah, yeah. I loved it. It just
And
made
then tell
me
me about the other film. Tell me about the other
so,
film.
this other film, alright,
The short film.
The Short. It's by a guy named Steve Girard. It's up for
Yeah.
free on YouTube right now, or on Vimeo right now. Maybe YouTube, doesn't matter. Anyway, it's called Wadup, and it starts off like I'm gonna try briefly to describe what happens, but it's not really important.
Okay.
It starts off with a cornrowed white rapper rapping to
Yeah.
himself, and then he goes into the bathroom and he cuts off his own head, and he continues rapping while he takes his
Yeah.
head to the bathtub, and then his body starts to fuck his neck stump while his head is still like talking to it, and then it gets weird because then
You don't say.
we follow the fluids down the drain of the bathtub and go into this bizarre cartoon world.
I've
What
seen this
happens doesn't
short.
really, yeah,
I've
it's
seen this
amazing.
short because you posted it one time.
Yeah, yeah.
I've definitely seen this short. Okay.
So this movie, this was my first year when I was volunteering at the Florida Film Festival. And the Florida Film Festival is a great festival. It's a they play tons of big indie movies, like just really great stuff coming out. But they
Yeah.
have this was my first experience, and you veteran fest goers probably already know this. This was totally new to me, but this was my first experience with the Midnight movie because they had a block of films called the Midnight Shorts.
Oh,
And this was the
yeah.
moment, man. This is when my life changed because I went in there not having any expectations. I was a volunteer, so I got to go in when I wasn't working, and there were still seats. So like that left me like, okay, I'll go do the midnight one because nobody else is like I
Right.
don't need to work for it. So I show up for the midnights, and the little bumpers come through and everything, and then this first movie starts, and this guy's rapping, and I'm like, what am I looking at here? And then by the end of it, like my brain had melted and drained out of my nose. It was over. Like
Oh my
this
god.
whole new, like I never knew you could do that. You know, I never knew
So
you
you're
could
like,
do that.
wait, that counts? That's
That,
part of the
yeah,
rules?
yeah, we could do this.
Yeah,
This is a thing, and then it just got better and better
that's
over the course of
acceptable.
that,
Yeah,
and that shaped everything. Like that, like I walked out that night with the treatment in my head for the first short film I did that I consider mine. You know, that I consider in my
right.
voice, um, and I knew Sick and Wrong came from that because I knew that I just wanted a whole festival dedicated to this stuff, just a whole event based around this kind of bizarre, inexplicable. Like I don't even know. You know, I've been running the fest for 6 years. I still don't know how to describe these movies, man. Like if you're talking to somebody, and I'm trying to be real careful about saying this because I don't want it to sound disparaging. If you're talking to somebody who has seen movies like Eraserhead or Kuso, you know, you can say,
Yeah.
or Holy Mountain or something like that. You could say, oh, it's a midnight movie. But if you talk to somebody who hasn't seen those, somebody who the weirdest thing they've seen has been, I don't even know, like I don't know, somebody who's only ever seen movies in the Cineplex, right? There's trying to explain to that person what Sick and Wrong is about. I always end up just kind of accidentally giving them the impression that it's a horror festival, and it's not. It's not. It's a weirdo festival. It's like I want you to have when you come, I want you to have that brain melting experience that I went through, you know?
See, that's the problem that I've always had with your festival in the sense of I always think of it as like either like a horror festival. Or I just always feel like it has to be like whatever is going to be made. It has to be like it has to be like sick and wrong. If it doesn't feel sick and wrong, then it's not going to. But when you speak about it like that, that's actually what really attracted me to Nightmares Film Festival when I
Oh yeah.
submitted my feature
Oh yeah.
because they had a midnight category. And when I was struggling because I made a horror adjacent film, but it was
Mhm.
not a horror film. It was
Right, right.
I would say it's more of a midnight film. And I know that's like I know that's a moniker that you have that you can't call your own film a midnight film. It has to earn the
Yeah.
title of a midnight film, but I don't know how else to
Yeah.
describe what I made. I made a gothic noir. That's how I describe it. It's a gothic noir with a little bit of horror and a little bit of John Waters and a little bit of whatever, like whatever. Just weird. Trying to be weird. Trying to make the movies that I love. For me, you know, I love like Forbidden Zone
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
Meet the Feebles and like, you know, Meet the Hollowheads and like we talked just all the films that we've spoken about, like bizarre,
Dark
weird
backward, right? Yeah.
stuff that you know what's funny though? That all that stuff would in a video store, a mom and pop shop, or a blockbuster, it would still
Mhm.
go in the horror section.
Right.
It's part of the scene, even though it's not a slasher film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, just real quick, for me, my film was a documentary in the year 2004. It was called The Snowball Effect, and it came on the Clerks 10th anniversary edition. I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school.
Snowball,
Yeah,
okay.
like the snowball effect. I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school. All my friends went to four-year school. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was super depressed. I was in community college, taking a couple of basic classes.
Mhm.
I was directionless, aimless youth. And then I was watching The Snowball Effect because I love Clerks is one of my favorite films, and I love Kevin Smith and yada 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 whatever. And I'm watching it, and I'm suddenly like, it was like you know, I call it. It was like my Batman moment, like when Bruce Wayne is sitting in his armchair and like a bat flies through the window. And says, well, that's it. I
Aha!
shall become a bat. And
Eureka!
for me, that was I'm watching this movie and I'm going, yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to tell stories too. I just knew it because I was always a
Yeah,
storyteller, just never thought of it in that kind of way. And that started a spark that sparked the passion of wanting to, you know, immerse myself in every aspect and get to a place
mhm.
where I could be completely autonomous in the process, which I'm very close to. Because I, you know, listen, I know that filmmaking is a team effort, especially with what you're doing and what we're about to talk about.
Mm, yeah.
Filmmaking at the end of the day, filmmaking is teamwork. You can't I mean, it's undeniable. However, there are certain people cut from a certain cloth who are never going to fit into that mold. And I think I'm just happen to be one of them. I'm a person that, I'm not going to go to LA and I'm not going to go
Mhm.
to New York City. I just can be where I'm at and I'm going to tell some small little contained story with the money that I can pull out of my own pocket. And, and I truly believe in the creed. And I'm sure you'll be experiencing this shortly as you make this is your first feature length film, right? Oh, no, it's not your second. It's your
Yeah,
second.
that's right. We share. Oh, yep.
Juice.
The
And we share.
juice.
That's right. Oh my God. I can't believe we've collaborated
I
on stuff.
know. This is
Pretty
awesome.
cool. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I guess that's technically, I guess I could kind of count that as being a part of a feature film, directing like a
Yeah.
segment for a feature film. Huh.
I,
Think about it like
I,
that.
I mean, we broke 90 minutes on that, right?
You
Like,
broke 90 minutes. I mean,
yeah.
you really found a way to tell a story like out of like nothing. Like you really told the story. I mean, I was captivated. But the point is that like, you know, you at the end of the day, if you're really passionate about being a filmmaker and you get an idea and stuff, if you're the director and the writer, or the idea man,
Mhm.
everybody might care, but nobody will ever care about that idea as much as you do. Nobody is going to break their back harder than you to will this thing into existence. That's not to say that people are not going to work hard. It
No,
just means
sure.
that nobody is going to treat it like the baby that you consider it. And from that motivation, realizing that if you don't have money to hire people and like properly like hire people and do stuff, you're gonna have to do that stuff
You did a
yourself.
lot yourself. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to do it yourself. And if you're gonna do it yourself, you better know what you're doing or strive to try and do the best at knowing what you're doing. And that's like
Mhm.
the process. And I look at a guy, we were talking about George Romero. I look at a guy like George Romero, who's just like, yeah, he had like a team, but like he was a guy who was like, fuck the system. I'm just going to make movies right where I'm at. I'm going to be a regional
Mhm.
filmmaker and I'm going to just churn them out. And I was like, I want to be, okay, I want to make movies because this Kevin Smith
Right. Right.
documentary, but I want to be just like my hero, George Romero, and just stay where I'm at and just make little films. And then made a little film and being like, oh my God, I don't know how to market this because it's like
Yeah.
it's like nothing and like it's not commercial at all and nobody gives a shit about it. And then seeing like this category, midnight feature, and going,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I'm making. I'm making midnight movies. This is a midnight movie. I have to advertise this as a midnight movie. It's not a horror movie. That's why when I send it to horror festivals, it gets rejected because it's not a horror film.
Yeah. Yeah.
It needs to be in its own animal,
I wish that genre would achieve wider adaptation or not adaptation, acceptance. I don't know.
wider acceptance.
Yeah, like for instance, on the Kickstarter, like you say what category? Oh, it's a film, and they say, all right, what subcategory? And it's a bunch of genres, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not horror, even though it's going to be kind of horrific. It's not comedy, even though it's going to be funny. It's not what am I gonna? If they just threw Midnight on there, I feel like it's not experimental, even though there's going to be experimental elements. But if you just threw Midnight on there, we could. I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking at the campaign video going, okay, this sounds fun. He sounds like he's really interested in this and maybe this is going to be a good project. But what kind of movie is this going to be? And like, there's not much of an answer to that.
You should just call it. I mean, listen, it sounds like you have the answer already. It is you're making a midnight movie. You have a
I
midnight
am.
movie festival in a way,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in that kind of way. So, it's too bad it doesn't have like a genre name, like we call them genre films. I
Right,
wish there
right.
was like a better name. I guess Psychotronic is kind of like an
Oh yeah.
antiquated version of that,
Yeah, not
kind of
a that was
a
a
little
new
bit.
term to me. I think was it you who introduced me to the term? Anyway, but like yeah, that was a new term to me.
Yeah, maybe when I was marketing Wash Away, like
Yeah.
I was trying to call it a psycho. I'll call it a psychotronic thriller
Uh,
because I was trying to think of. And you know what?
yeah.
Honestly, because I'm getting ready to take that film I was talking about, that Romeo's Distress film. I think I'm just going to put it on YouTube.
Oh
I'm going
yeah.
to put it straight up on YouTube. I'm going to just call it Romeo's Distress, a midnight feature film or a midnight movie, and just see what kind of traffic it does. Because right now, distribution is so fucked. If
Yeah.
you are, it's
No, it's
impossible. Like
it's
I know
gone.
how to
Yeah.
author. I know how to author shit. I can't even author the disc because the software that I need to
Oh
do
my
it is
fucking
impossible
god,
to get.
dude! Like it's
Sucks.
ridiculous. I have a friend in the UK who has like a 10-year-old computer that he keeps around because he has a copy
Yeah,
of Encore on it. Because how the fuck else do you? Yeah, exactly. Like how?
I have one over there. Yeah,
Like I think somebody said I could buy like Vegas might have a piece of software that does authoring for
Vegas
nine
does.
hundred dollars or something like that. Uh,
There's no, you cannot get DVD authoring software for like less than like $100 or like $100. Like you have to pay like close to a
yeah,
grand
yeah.
or even more to get proper authoring software, and it
Yeah,
sucks.
it sucks. Like I'm not trying to make home videos to share with grandma, you know. I want to make a
Right.
DVD master, you know, and like
Because you have disc makers, they're taking ISO images and everything. Like all
yeah,
you got
yeah,
to do
yeah.
is send them the fucking image, and you can't get the image
But
because you
you
can't
can't
fucking
make an
make it.
image, right? Oh, but there's
Can't.
plenty of fucking houses that will try to sell you the authoring services and
Yeah.
the menu building services and
But
the
who wants to
duplication.
do that? Like,
Want you? I
it's such a
don't want you to
personal
author my
thing.
disc, man. Yeah, exactly. Not you, Jeff. I mean, like these
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's I feel like disc authoring, and by the way, there's definitely a market for that. Like
Mhm,
to be like a boutique disc authoring service that really takes on a project with care. Like, because I got to tell you, it's like that's like personal, in the same way that like, like food is a very personal thing, like what I like to eat, my creature
mhm.
comforts and stuff. I feel like authoring DVD discs is a very personal thing. I want
Yeah.
things a certain way, like
Mm,
buying a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts or a t-shirt or something. Like clothing is personal too. Like we all like the way that our clothing represents us in a certain way. It has to have this kind of pocket. It has to, oh,
mhm.
I like a tight cuff. I like a loose cuff. I like a this. I like a that. And it's like I can't just give my movie to a whatever one of these guys and just like, all right, smack it together and then it's
Yeah,
done.
I mean, I look
Fuck
at some of
that.
these DVDs that I got, like especially in the early days of DVDs. I got these DVDs, and you pop them in, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is DVD template number 37. Oh, this is
Right.
DVD template number 16. You know, like it's just okay. Well, here's your 6 chapter previews, and then page next, page back, 6 chapter previews. Fuck, man, no, like I don't. I want my
You know
DVD
what
to
kind of hero
look
we
like
need,
my
Steven?
movie. Yeah.
You know what kind of hero we need? We need a hero that's going to do code open source software based on Encore and
Yeah.
just put it out there.
Goddamn, yeah. Please,
Like what's
please,
that
if
what's that
you're
audio what's the audio program that's
Audition? The
no, not
no, no,
Audition.
no.
I use Audition.
Yeah, yeah.
There's an open source audio recording software. What's it called?
Oh,
Off my head.
Audacity. Audacity.
Audacity.
Yeah, we need
We need
Audacity for
Audacity
DVD
for
authoring.
authoring. Yo, that
Yeah,
is
man.
like
I
if I
would
had
I would
a
tip your
fucking genie,
PayPal
bro.
jar if you did
Yeah.
that.
Yo, if I had a genie and he was like, "You get 3 wishes," my first wish would be, "Can I get some can I get some
I
DVD open source?" Wait, you just don't
yeah.
want a copy? No, no, no. I
No, no,
want it
no.
to be open source. I want the open source stuff.
It's because you're an altruist, Jeff. You believe in good for
Yes.
the humanity.
I for mostly
Most of
yes, mostly. So
it.
so now what's interesting about your project is I didn't know this. You were inspired. The stories are inspired loosely by lyrics from the 1998 Neutral Milk Hotel album, The
In the
Airplane Over the
Aeroplane over
Sea.
the sea. Yeah, yeah.
Now, I love this because I'm going to tie it back to myself because that's what I do.
Mhm.
No, I
No,
always
that's great.
come creatively from a place of music. Like I listen to
Yeah,
music and
yeah.
it makes me like inspired in some way, shape, or form cinematically. And so
Mhm.
I think that's awesome that that happened. What made you? How did that? Tell me about that process. What what
So
what went down with that?
it's an I don't know how interesting the story is. Uh, the First of all, if we're talking about the present, when I decided to call it Fat Fleshy Fingers, I was
Yeah,
really kind of squirrely about telling anybody that. And I would say to the filmmakers, I was like, I'm thinking about calling it Fat Fleshy Fingers. I just think it's a funny phrase or whatever. And it wasn't until a little bit into the process that I started realizing that everybody has a connection to this record. It's wild. Like, so many people have strong connections and feelings about this record.
Making the film or just in general?
Well, both. Like, I was sort of shocked to learn about both because, as one example, one of the filmmakers, Michael Epstein, he used to be in a band called Neutral Uke Hotel, where they did ukulele covers of Neutral Milk Hotel songs.
That's hilarious.
And he said, like, and this is a cover band, all right? So he
Yeah.
said that they would tour and like they'd get 200 people at every show, 200 young people shouting at the top of their lungs all the lyrics to all the songs off the records, you know? Uh,
Wow.
so I was sort of surprised to learn that this wasn't just me and a couple of my weird friends back in Augusta, Georgia, who dug this record. But if we go back to 1998, it was a real transitional time for me. I was, for a long time, I had decided I was a metal guy. You know, I was a guy like.
Wait, what made you a metal guy though? What was like? What were your like? Give me some bands that made you the metal guy. What kind of metal are we talking here?
Well, okay, so when I was 12, living in Germany, there was we had a neighbor when we moved out. We moved off base. I don't have to get into the whole. Anyway, whatever. I had a neighbor who introduced me to Megadeth, and I
Okay.
remember at 12, I remember listening to Megadeth, thinking, "Wow, this is the heaviest possible music humans could ever create. This is the and
Ah,
and then the next year I moved up to Belgium and I started going to school and I had this classmate who showed me Napalm Death and I was like, oh, my bad. Okay, now I get it. You know? so so at the time 1998 I was probably super into Tool. I've always been super into Tool, but like at the time I was probably also listening to I cringe to say it, but like Corn. But I was coming from like, I was,
boom,
oh my
boom,
God, dude, that dude. I just have to say those fucking guys. I don't know if they were always nutbags, but they have gone off the right wing QAnon deep end, and
Oh,
they're
really?
just basically dead to me. Yeah, like,
Wow.
and they had a video before 2016 where like Obama was the Antichrist, like in their video. It's just I don't know, man. It's done with Corn, but like it was stuff like that, new metal kind of crap. And then I started hanging out with some guys, some people who were more well-rounded human beings than I was. And
Yeah.
just one day, somebody played this record for me. They played In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. And at the time, I was like, what is this? This isn't metal. I'm a metal guy. I don't
Oh,
listen
I
to stuff like
can't listen to
this.
this because I'm a metal guy. Only
But
metal
it just
for
sort of
me.
burrowed its way into my brain. And I just kept wanting to come back to it, you know? It's such a weird record. Like it's so hard to categorize. Like it's easy to say, oh, this is I don't know, a folk record, I guess, because of the instrumentation, maybe, or that it's indie, even though indie doesn't actually mean anything. You know, it's like how it used to bug me how they used to call music alternative, like alternative
Right.
to what? You know, it doesn't. That's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't make any
It
sense.
doesn't make any, but it just sort of wormed its way into
All
my
music is
brain.
alternative.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
alternative to what the stuff you don't listen to, right? It's the alternative to that.
Yeah.
But there's so much, like it's so dense and so bizarre and like it's so dirty and like there's so much like sexual content in it and the record
Are you a
in the
Pixies
airplane.
fan?
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I have thoroughly enjoyed all the Pixies that I've heard, but I have never done a deep dive into their discography. So
You should listen to Doolittle
okay,
if you like sex
we'll
and
do.
death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, and since then, like that kind of stuff has become kind of part and parcel from my listening. Like, you know, it was instrumental in me opening up and not being the
Right.
broy new metal loser anymore. You know,
No more nookie for you.
no more. Oh my God. So, uh, a friend of mine, a mutual friend, Bob Rose, had the dude from Eve
Hey, Bob.
Six. Hey, Bob. He had the dude from Eve Six on his podcast recently, and so in our chat, we keep talking about the Heart in a Blender song, and I
Yeah.
confess this is a shameful confession. Every time I try to conjure the Heart in a Blender song to my mind, all I get is that line from Nookie. She put my tender heart in a blender, and still I surrendered like a chump. Hey, like a chump. Hey, yeah, I
Hey.
can't get the
Oh
Eve
man.
Six song in my head. It ends up being the fucking Limp Bizkit song, and I'm
Wait,
very
wait, Bob
sorry.
actually spoke to the Eve Six guy.
Yeah, I had him on his pot on
That's
Shrimp Night.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's because he had done that's because the Eve 6 guy is like really like meta about like his
Yeah.
like song and like is always
He's
talking
so
about it
funny
and
on
stuff.
Twitter, man. He's going up to like, hey, Kim Kardashian, did you like the Heart in a Blender song?
Yeah,
It's so funny.
that is real
Yeah.
funny. That is really funny. The guy who can like doesn't take himself so seriously and can
Right,
like
right, right.
do that
He
sort of
tweeted
thing.
he tweeted like I was literally a virgin when I wrote the Heart in a Blender song. And like everybody now knows, okay, that makes sense.
Heart in a blender. Heart in a blender. So in any case, you were inspired. And then where does the name Fat Fleshy Fingers actually come from? Like, what made you
It's from
decide?
well, the I mean, the lyric, that particular line comes from a song called "Oh Comely" on the record, and it's just a phrase that, like, from the very first time I heard it, it just stuck in my head because it's one of these. It's depending on how you come at it, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just the way my brain works, but like depending on how you come at it, like it's kind of gross and sexual and weird, and yet there's no single word there that communicates those things, right? There's nothing if you
Fat
yeah.
Fleshy Fingers.
Like it's very suggestive in like a simultaneously juvenile, gross, and like poetic way.
It's marketable though. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
scrolling on a streaming service and you come across Fat Fleshy Fingers, you're like, okay, I got to see what
Okay,
that's
I gotta
about.
check
What
this
is
out.
it?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta check this out. You know, I'm sure you could sell the Shutter. That's something that Shutter is going to pick up because they're going to be like, oh yeah, you know, like title and a poster, Fat Fleshy Fingers, sold it. Or you go to Full Moon, go to Full
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Charles Band will
I
be like, what's Fat Fleshy Fingers? Let me get a hold of those Fat Fleshy Fingers.
I don't know. Shudder's not a bad. Like Shudder
I
has
love
Kuso,
Shutter.
and Kuso is a movie. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Oh wait. Is that the really gross movie?
It is gross.
They
Yes.
say it's really gross. I didn't think it was that gross. I
I
watched
mean,
something very recently on Shudder. It was like called like Oh Kiki Man or something. It was like
yeah,
Finnish or Swedish or something,
that
and it's
makes
like
sense. The Finns are
I,
fucking nuts, man.
they
Every year
are
I get movies from the
nuts.
Finns, and they're incredible. I've drunk with them. Like the Finns have come to the festival,
Yeah,
and I, I can I
go
tell you
for
a
it,
quick
dude.
side story?
Sure, go ahead.
The second year of the festival, we had a couple of Finnish films, and two different Finnish films won a Siki, right? And
Yeah,
it shipping the Siki is a huge pain in the ass, especially to someplace like Finland.
I
So
bet.
one of the Finns came to the festival because of a neat program their
Perfect.
government has. But one of the Finns came and he's there. And at the end of the festival, I'm giving him a sickie, and I was like, as a joke, just as a total joke, I was like, hey, do you know this other Finn? I know you live in Finland. Maybe all you Finns know each other. Can you give him his sickie? And the guy goes, oh yeah, we share a studio. And I was like, shit, I guess all Finns do know each other.
Friggin' Finns, man.
So he
Those
saved me
Finns.
he saved me the shipping cost to send it the second Siki out to
Oh, I have
Finland.
a recommendation for you on Shutter. You
Yeah.
have to watch Der Samurai.
Okay. People have suggested this to me before. I have not watched this yet.
You have to watch Der Samurai. And there's another Der movie. They're both German. The other one is super bizarre. I'm trying to remember the title. It's about like they live in like a bunker and there's like an alien. It's super weird. Super friggin' weird.
I think I have it
I'm
cracked
trying to
too.
remember the name. Der Bunker. Der Bunker.
Oh
Der
yeah.
Bunker and Der Samurai. And they came out roughly around the same time. Completely irrelevant to each other, except that they're both German and they both have Der in the title. And they
It means
are.
the.
I know it means that,
Okay.
but like
Yeah. Yeah.
they're choosing to say Der Samurai and Der Bunker. Der Samurai is really, really bizarre. Perfect example. You know, that's what I love about Shudder, though, because Shudder, you know, yes, they do horror, but they also have been very cool about adjacent horror. And like, you can't go into an expectation with a Shudder film and being like, oh man, I'm gonna see a horror film. Like
Right.
this
Right.
might be, especially like the Shudder originals. Like you have no idea what the hell you're gonna see on there, and
Right.
you just
Right.
kind of gotta go into it and just enjoy it. And yeah, I'll pretty much watch anything. You know, it's like I think I have I have Shudder. Because I was early. I have it for $3.99 a month, like forever. but I'm always like, gotta get my $3.99 a month of horror movies.
Gotta get that. Yeah.
I'm like making sure to watch a
Get the
whole
fuck.
slew of stuff.
No. Get out of here. Sorry.
Oh, that
I
cat. That darn cat.
he's sniffing around the worm. I got the worm over here because I wanted to show it to your folks.
Right,
But
yeah. Let's talk about the worm real quick.
You want to see it?
The worm.
You want to see the worm? So
Guys,
the worm,
it's a worm or it's a finger.
It's a worm. It's a parasite. It's a weird sexually transmitted parasite.
Okay.
I want to say real fast before I show it that it was completely designed and created by my friend Katie Gelhart, who is fucking amazing. She lives in Germany, and she did all the effects for the Jerry Show, all the makeup and stuff for the Jerry Show.
Oh boy,
she's beautiful.
Jerry Show.
She's amazing. So well, let me start from the top or from the bottom up so you can see just how.
Oh my God, this is I'm disgusted already. Oh my God.
I don't know if my camera's picking up all the veininess of it, but here we go.
I see some like tubules. Oh my God. Those mouths, they're so suggestive.
It is so I can't get my mirroring straight in my head. I don't know which way to move my head.
Firm, or is it like, does it like wiggle? Yeah, it wiggles.
It's got some give to it. It's got some squishiness.
Now, when you first posted this on social media, I thought it was Almer from Brain Damage.
From Brain Damage, which I had not seen at the time. I have now seen it. I have seen it now. Yeah,
that blows my mind. You have to watch it. It's like going to be your favorite film of all time.
I did watch it. I did watch it.
So you did watch it. Did you like it?
Since then. Yeah, it was fun.
Good.
Yeah, good. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I don't know.
What were you expecting? What were you expecting?
I was not. I guess what I wasn't expecting was commentary, like statements. It's like the same thing with Chud. When I had the same expectations going to both Brain Damage and Chud, that it was just going to be commentary. It does. It has a lot. It has got a lot of class stuff. Michael is sort of bitter about. Michael and Sophia are kind of bitter about Chud because no actor ever appears on screen with the monsters because they were cheap, but that doesn't bother me too much.
Wait a minute. Because they were cheap.
Yeah, because I assume it's like a thing to reduce on takes and stuff like that, like all the effects shot are done afterwards, maybe in sound stages and stuff.
Wow. So they never even saw. Wow, I gotta watch it like that. I never thought about it like that. I love the monsters in Chud though.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was great. But same thing with Brain Damages. I expected in both cases to have just kind of a fun, superficial creature movie.
Gotcha.
And I didn't get that in both cases. In both cases, there was it was a little lighter in Brain Damage, but there was some like addiction stuff in there that was pretty.
Right.
Interesting to think about.
That was kind of on the nose, I would say that.
Yeah.
There's like an actual there's like an eco thing with like, and then the homeless people living under.
Oh, and Chud. Yeah.
Man, you could remake Chud today. It would be so good. No, maybe it wouldn't be actually. I don't know.
It depends on who you put in charge, right?
I think we have to remake Chud right now after we
right. Oh boy.
Yep. That's how we're gonna end this.
We're making Chud.
We're remaking, guys. This is what we do when Stephen and I get together. We remake movies. By the way, I have to tell you, after we had that conversation about Society,
yeah.
I had Brian Usna on the show. The interview was not aired yet.
Oh wow.
And it was spoke to him for 3 hours.
Nice.
Like, just like phenomenal. But the thing that I kept holding on my tongue was, I still wanted to tell him,
movie.
I wanted to pitch him what we were talking about with Society, and I just was like, "Don't do it. Just don't do it." He did tell me the plot. You'll see it in the thing. He has an idea for Society 2, and it's fucked up. Woo! It's good. It's a good one. I was holding my tongue the whole time because I just want to be like, me and my friend, when my friends be like, we're trying to I was so nervous, dude. I was like, I had to. He was like, okay, so where are you from? how are you? Like, you could tell that I was like,
Yeah,
hi,
yeah, a little.
hi.
I'd be afraid because, like I told you, that's my my like if they're giving remakes out to people who really don't deserve to be at the head of feature remakes, I'll take the one for society. That's the one. That's
Oh
my
my
yeah, that's my
god.
remake.
Oh
If I
my
could get
god. I
any,
clipped it. I clipped it.
yeah.
So, guys, you got to go search for it. But it'll pop up eventually. I'll drop it soon. Where we remade Society by way of Ready. What was it? What's the Ready? The hide and seek movie, not hide and seek. It
um,
just came out. They're doing Scream.
oh,
The theme.
the
Ready or not.
ready was it
Ready
ready
or
or
not.
not? Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yes, yes, yes. That was, or at least
That was your yeah, yeah,
personal. You went from a completely different side of it, but
yeah,
that was my idea. But we're gonna do Chud in a minute. Let's keep talking about Fat Fleshy Fingers. I'm gonna go. Let's go to the Kickstarter campaign. Keep talking to me about it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then, what happened or something or whatever about Fat Fleshy Fingers? Go
Oh,
ahead.
so it's like it's tricky. There were a couple things I wanted to do. Um, the first thing I decided right off the bat was that I didn't want to direct anything myself. You know, the
Oh, so
whole
you're not directing anything.
I'm not directing a segment. No, I'm not
You're
directing.
producing and writing and yada yada yada.
Well, okay. So here's what I've done: is I decided what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a movie that was going to showcase the true spirit of the festival, right?
Okay.
So I picked, I made a short list of filmmakers I thought who, whose work really embodies all the different aspects of the Sick and Wrong Film Festival. And my short list was huge. I had tons of people I would have loved to invite into the movie, but like, I didn't want it to turn into, I didn't want it to be, I didn't want to limit everybody to 2 minutes
Right.
for their segment or something, or turn
Right.
it into
Right.
a
Right.
4 hour monstrosity. Hey, there's me sitting in front of my bookshelf right now. So that was one thing, is I wanted it to showcase the festival, and that led me to deciding that I didn't want to direct any segment myself, because I really wanted to lift up the filmmakers that I've had at the festival. So I made my list and I started reaching out to the people, and that was fucking tough, man. Trying to decide who I should ask. You know, I had my list of folks I desperately wanted, and I reached out to a bunch of people, and not everybody could say yes. And some people said yes and had to back out later. Uh,
Oh, that is frustrating.
it is. I don't listen. I don't blame him. Like one person, I won't name them. I have zero hard feelings, because this person, for instance, had like they'd said yes, and they'd signed their paperwork and stuff. They said yes, and then they got a grant for a project that they had pitched to a bunch of organizations like a year before. So the rest
Yeah,
of
you
their
can't.
year,
Yeah,
you can't. I would never begrudge them that. It's like, it's your project, man. Go. I wish you all the best. You
of
know.
course.
Other people felt like they didn't have the. This isn't going to be a lockdown movie, but some people felt like maybe they didn't have enough resources or something available to them to make
Right.
a proper segment. And I
Right.
tried. I'm not. I don't. What I don't want is to twist anybody's arm into being in this. I want
Of
them to
course.
be enthusiastic partners in it. So anyway, in the end, I got. We're looking at 8 segments plus the interstitials connecting all the segments together.
So how long is each segment?
We're shooting for between I, I guess the range is going to be about like 5 to 12 minutes
That
in
makes
each
sense.
for each
That makes
segment.
sense.
And then maybe half a minute to 45 seconds for the interstitials. But then there's, the credits. The interstitials are going to be animated. This is somebody I've introduced. I've spilled the beans on most of the filmmakers at this point. The interstitials are going to be created by Gurleen Rye and Anthony Shepard, who did the credits, the credit sequence for that project that you and I.
Oh wow, that
So
oh
you saw that?
man, that was great get. Then it's
Yeah.
going to
Oh
be,
yeah.
and you basically, I didn't even think about this too. It's like it's like boom, like it's like you could four-wall it at your own festival and like premiere it. Like it's your fucking sick and wrong movie. You know what I mean?
So this is something I've actually been struggling with, and I'm not decided yet. I guess I still have till December. Well, I mean, the movie's probably not even going to be done by December, but like, um, it's something I'm sort of struggling with because it is from the very beginning. It's always been in my mind sick and wrong. Like it's supposed to be sick and wrong. It's supposed to embody
Right.
everything that sick and wrong is all about. Um, and so it would seem natural to show it at the festival. But then I have never shown any of my own movies at the festival. I don't. I feel really squirrely about that. I don't think
Yeah,
that
but you didn't
that feels
direct a
good.
sequel. You didn't direct a segment.
What I'm
You know?
thinking is that I will try to do, and this is just a preliminary plan. What I'm thinking is I will try to do a separate screening event that is not part of the festival proper, but is presented by
Right.
the festival. You know, a special screening for the movie is what I'm thinking. I don't know though. I'm still kicking around ideas. It just feels a little bit weird to take something, you know,
I
produced by
actually have a
Steven
really
Still.
good idea for
Yeah.
I have a good idea, but I'll pitch it to you off. I have a great
Okay.
idea.
You don't want me
Actually,
to
it's a really I think it's a really obvious idea, but I'll tell you I'll tell you my idea off screen. I wouldn't want to say it publicly, but I think I mean there's a I think there's a variation of my initial question that
Okay.
like makes a lot of logical sense, but it requires the cooperation of others. But whatever, I'll talk. I'll ask. I'll pick your brain about it off screen.
That sounds good.
Um, so you got a bunch of perks here. We got all our perks. I mean, guys, go take a look at all the perks. It's your
I,
perks. Listen, at the end of the day, you can support indie. I would say support indie horror, but it's not horror. It's just support indie
movies.
movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
I got a challenge for you.
Oh, I love challenges. Go ahead.
um so the name Sick and Wrong has sort of haunted me ever since I created it because of how much people tend to just think it means horror and how much trouble I've had explaining to people. But at this point, 6 years into the festival, I'm sort
Oh,
of like,
stop! You're not going to rebrand, are you?
I am not. I am not. But my challenge is if I were, what would your vote for the name of the festival to be?
Oh my God, I can't. You really
It's
put me on the spot
I know
because
you don't worry about it. I'm just
but I will privately message you at some point and bother the shit out of you with like a thousand
proposals. Yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
But yeah. I'll do that. I will take that challenge later. I can't if something comes to mind,
I think
then
okay, so when I talk about rebranding, I am like
yeah,
93% certain I'm not going to. All right.
right.
There is a tiny window that makes that kind of hovers there in the background, and I think I know what I would call it if I were going to do that. But
But
I'm like,
it doesn't have to be a rebranding. It could just be like you could just change the
I
name
just
and still
change the
do the
name. Yeah,
fest,
yeah, and
like
still
what
do the
Stevie
fest.
did.
Yeah, I wouldn't change the
Why you
format.
have to make it? Yeah, you could
Yeah,
literally
I wouldn't
no.
change
You can keep everything the same. Just change. Like you know what happened to me? I was video business media for a long time, and it was
Mhm.
a really stupid idea because video business media is really based on this logo. Chris will understand this in the comments because Chris and I are Misfit fans. It's based on horror business, video
Ah,
business, like
okay,
a
I gotcha.
comedy video business instead of horror business, right? But when you write video business on paper very
It doesn't.
plainly, it
Yeah,
just it's
yeah,
like looks like video business. But when you put it, see, as you can see, Jeff Frumess, it's the same thing.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
see
yeah.
it, you go, "Oh yeah, it
Oh
makes sense. It
yeah.
makes sense." Oh, but you know what? It for a lot of reasons, some of which I can't discuss publicly on the air. I was like, it's time to rebrand. And I was always trying to think of a name, like, what could I be? What is my brand?
Mhm.
Who am I? Blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It ultimately came back to this. It ultimately came back to, growing up when I would sit, I know you share in this joy of, by the way, to answer your question, Chris, I think they're shooting all over.
Oh yeah.
It's taking place everywhere. Go ahead. Why don't you take that question real quick or
Oh,
explain
okay.
it?
So the filmmakers are in lots of different places. The ones I have introduced already to the world, one is up near Boston. Actually, two are up near Boston. One's in L.A. Two of them are actually in New Orleans, and like I guess
There
don't
you
know
go.
each other, which is interesting. um, one of the ones I
Well, way to
haven't.
meet people.
There's somebody. Let's see. I don't want to. A couple of the filmmakers I haven't introduced to the world yet. Another one's in L.A. One's in Minnesota, and then we have one in Finland.
Oh, one of the Finns. Oh
One
my
of the
lord.
Finns. Yeah, yeah. I'm so
One of the
excited.
Finns.
So they're going to
Yeah, that'd
shoot
be
in their
fun.
own places, and then I'm going to collect the segments, and then Gurleen and Anthony are going to go to town, um, uh, creating the interstitials to connect everything.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Yeet Bitch. Yeet. This guy's so funny. He's always like, "Have no fear, the Yeet is here," and stuff like that. He's
Does yeet?
awesome. What's
So
up, Yeet?
you never yeet then?
I don't know. He came into the
Never
chat one
toss them
day and
out.
he's been here ever since. Every Wednesday he's here, from time to time. He's always like, "What's up? Have no fear, the Yeet is here." And I'm just like, "What's up, Yeet?" So
Nice to
how you
meet you,
doing,
yeet
Yeet?
bitch.
Yeet bitch. But to get back to what I was saying,
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to.
no. It's cool. This is your spotlight. I'm you know what? This is my advice to you. This is me answering your question by relating it through my own prism of
Yeah,
experience. In that, growing up, and I know you relate to this, where you just want to show people the movies that you love, and
yeah,
you're not even watching the movie, you're watching the people watch the movie.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
watching the people watch the movie and vicariously living through them experiencing it the first time and enjoying it and watching them react to all the parts, and it's a personal thing because you're showing them a piece of you,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's you know it's a very important thing. And so for me, when I'd sit everybody down and watch Meet the Feebles or The Toxic Avenger or whatever, they'd always call it, "Oh, those Frumess films." Like, it's a Frumess movie. All the kids that I grew up with, they call it. They laugh at me and they call it, it's a Frumess movie, a Frumess film, and I realized it's just like I'm Frumess, man. That's who I am. That's
Yeah,
my last
yeah,
name.
yeah,
In punk rock, you said you come from the metal world. In the punk rock world, you friggin' take your band name and you make it your surname. So there's like tons
yeah,
of
yeah. The Ramones were like none of
right,
them were. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That's probably the most
yeah.
famous example where you take on the last name of your band. Someone who I talk a lot about on here, Danzig, Glenn
Danzig.
Danzig.
Yeah, yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing. That's the way you take the surname of the thing. And I was like, well, look, I'm Jeff Frumess, and this is Frumess, and that's it. And it's Frumess. And so maybe you need to figure out that energy for you that makes sense for Sick and Wrong. And that's what I meant by that story.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a and don't ever like I guess this is something that oh Bob's the best.
we
Bob
love
has
you,
a
Bob.
special deal going on. If somebody this is ridiculous. Like I have a legit special deal going on right now that I want to share with people.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know what. Okay, so the legit special deal, and I can't believe I'm using Bob's ass to get to this point, but the legit special deal is that right now there's an anonymous backer who has pledged to throw in. They're doing a pledge match. They have pledged to throw in an extra $2,000, but first we have to hit $8,000 by Friday. We're not far. We're not far. It's like 1,300 away last time I looked from us.
Did you
From
guys
us.
hear that?
Yeah, if we can hit $8,000 by Friday at 6 Eastern, an anonymous backer will throw in an extra $2,000, bringing us up to 10 grand,
That's
which is
amazing.
it's incredible. I just got to get the word out. I don't know how to tell. As
Well,
a,
listen, I really hope it. I truly do hope that it happens.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I'm really excited about this. This whole project, all of Sick and Wrong. I don't want to. Let me start at the micro level, and maybe I'll go out to macro if it doesn't sound too magnanimous. But
Go
this
ahead.
project is fueled by my love, my adoration for the filmmakers who have come to Sick and Wrong. Everybody in this project has made a movie, at least one, that set my heart on fire. And that's what I'm most excited about, is to get them out there. I want to kind of turn Sick and Wrong. Sick and Wrong is very receptive. Like we get movies every year. I'm up to my eyeballs in submissions right now. Actually, what I want this thing to be is for me to say, let's take these beautiful people I have found and turn them around and show them back out to the world and say, look, guys, these are the ones. This is what we're all about. This is, and I want this to. I really want to share them with you guys. I want to share them with the world. I mean, I don't know how kind of douchey that sounds.
No, I don't think it's douchey at all. And I think it's like, look, again, like much like, you know, our friends over at Genre Blast,
Mhm.
I think this is like a really cool. This is like, I mean, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing at the indie level, it's like festivals becoming micro studios and putting out their own film brands,
Yeah.
their own stuff, and it's like the coolest thing ever. Like seriously, like I was stoked when you did yours. I was stoked when Nate and his Genre Blast team did theirs.
Yeah.
And to me, it embodies the spirit of how I try to make feature-length films by just sort of, you know, just wanting to put out my own flavor into the world. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
not trying to tell, you know, as Bob was saying, from us. You know, it's like this is from
That's
me
so
to
great.
you, my story, whatever the story. But I think that's really cool, and I think it's like a natural sort of it's like a natural step for, like, you know, you establish your taste in a festival, and now you're creating original content, and like it's something that's like also renewable. You know, like it's a great experiment. I mean, look what you did. You know, guys, for those of you who don't know, last December, uh,
Yeah.
friggin' Steve decided to do a 72-hour filmmaking
Film
debacle,
challenge. Yeah.
film challenge debacle, and
Oh
you know,
yeah, sweet.
and we threw our hat into the ring, and we made a 8-minute short in 71 hours. And I gotta tell you,
Ooh,
man, it
that was
was it,
delightful, man.
dude,
I
it was
mean,
the
watching it,
whole
certainly.
thing was right.
That's so
The whole
great.
thing was delightful. The Evite is delightful, and I know you love doing like watch
I love it.
along
I love
type
that stuff,
stuff.
man.
You love doing that. You
I
know, it's
love it.
funny. I was talking with Nate. You know, one of the things I want to do for this channel is I want to figure out how to do commentaries for films on the channel.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how to do this
I
without getting
was,
like in trouble. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like it could just literally just be talking heads watching the movie, but it needs to be, I feel like it needs to be like, why can't I just have the movie in the tiniest little fucking unenjoyable part of the screen? You know, we're adding content to it. It's not like
No.
pirating in the sense, you know, but like, I don't know. It's like, it's really hard to do something like that. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to approach that would be, because I
Yeah.
think that something that like the people that watch my channel would really love doing that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about this. I don't know how I got on this subject, but
Oh. I mean, it's fine. Like, it's something I've been thinking about too. I would love to do it. I think that,
oh, the
like,
debacle,
the
the
debacle, yes, the
e-bike,
debacle, the
right,
watch
right.
alongs, and yeah.
Yes, that's where we started talking about it. Sorry, so sorry.
And if you're interested, Jeff, there's going to be
Yes,
another debacle this year too. I'm bringing
dude,
it back.
I'm already there. I told Matt, my boy, and Chris, we're there. The team,
Hell yes.
we'll bring the team back. Tristan, we're all gonna do it.
You guys were amazing. So much fun.
100% there. Anything that I can do to support and help the debacle, I really. And you know what the best part was? It was like it was like we all like watched each other's films, and that's like the best part about like this film
Yeah.
festival stuff. The best part about film festival stuff is when, and it's the same thing for a top secret project that I can't talk about, that Steven knows about and that Bob in the comments knows about, because we could all be sued at any moment if we talk too much
If
about it. Doesn't
Michael listens to this,
yeah, fucking Michael.
fucking Michael.
But you know what the best part about that and the debacle was? It was just like, it was like we all had the idea, we all went home and did our homework, and then we all watched how everybody else did their homework. And you know, if you come from a place like without, like if you're coming from a place that's like not competitive in like in a negative way, then
Mhm.
like it's the greatest. It's like ambrosia.
Yeah,
It's like the highest high where you just where
it's
you just like make
Bob.
like you just you just make you make something, and then you watch everybody else
Yeah,
go, oh, that was a great idea. You get so inspired, and
it's
you get
so
so
yeah.
high watching how everybody
Oh
did
my
their
god.
thing. It's like the
I
best feeling, dude. The
oh
best.
God, that
Just talking about it gets me stoked, you
I
know?
was like my serotonin bottomed out for like a week after the debacle was over, just because I was so high the whole time it was going on. Just
And you
oh
learn
yeah,
so much. You're watching and you're just like, if you have a thirst, if you're trying to be a better filmmaker all the time, you're watching this stuff and you're going, oh my God, great idea. Oh my God.
hmm
That, blah, 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 blah. There's a Salisbury steak in the freezer. I've
oh
never forgotten
God,
that line.
yes,
I will
yeah,
never forget that line as long as I live. It's the greatest line. He's doing like a channeling Rocky Horror. No, he's channeling Dr. Frankenhooker.
right.
The Salisbury steak and freezer.
What a like
Oh my
that
God.
guy.
Great
Ugh,
character. That was a
just
great character.
the yeah, no, so much fun. It was a blast. I loved it, and a lot of these things came from like especially the thing that you and I worked on that we keep dancing around, and I should shut the fuck up about it. But like
Right.
a lot of these things came from a place of lockdown frustration, and I
Right.
really want to kind of hold on to that energy going forward. I want to be able to grasp that again. That's why
Yeah.
when I do the debacle again this year, even though I'm like 90% sure the festival is going to be live, the debacle is still going to be online and it's still going to be available to everybody
Oh my
everywhere.
God. That is so like that is I can't even tell you how much that is the move. First of all, it's definitely more cost friendly. And second
Yeah.
of all, like it's just that makes it instantaneously inclusive. And I'll tell you something, Steven, you could build this. This is something that will build. Like keep
Yeah.
if like again, if it's a splash this year or a
Mhm.
bigger splash than it was last year, that is something that will build and build and build. I really think that it will. What's going on, Paul? I'm sorry you didn't get your notification, but it's good to see you, buddy. Paul is working in
Willkommen.
the factory probably
Mm.
and just listening to us live,
Well, you didn't see
which
my
is
thumbs up
what it
then.
is.
I gave you a thumbs up, Paul.
But I'm so glad you're doing that. Really, truly, that
So
it's
much fun,
coming
man.
back.
I mean, it's draining.
So much
Everything's
fun.
draining, but like, it's a good draining. It's not like, you know,
Yes.
when Bob's funny. When I come home from work on a Friday, I feel drained, but like I also don't feel like I've accomplished anything. It feels like I didn't earn being that tired. But when the debacle was over, I felt like a boneless flob of skin on the ground. But I felt like I fucking earned it. Like it was
Right.
good. It was a good way
Right.
to get drained out. Yeah,
That's how I feel right now. Actually, I can't explain why I feel that way, but I'm exhausted. I didn't get any sleep last night. I was
never
up
give up.
super fucking late. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna say anything until there's something to talk about. But let's just say that I'm exhausted, and it's the greatest exhaustion in the fucking world, and I feel so alive
So
right
stoked
now.
to hear.
The
I don't even
best
know.
way.
I'm pretending like I'm acting all coy. I really have no idea what he's talking
Yeah,
about,
no one
but
has
I
any
still
idea because I
I still
really
love to
keep
hear it. I
making.
still just love to hear it.
Everybody will find out. Everybody will find out. There's a whole story, but you know what? I decided that I learned a very valuable lesson and that I'm going to speak with my actions, not with my words. And I'm in the middle of doing it right now. And I'll tell you, there's no finer feeling when you're like, it's funny too, when you're like in that creative mode, like all the noise gets toned down. Of course, Mark, you can be invited to the debacle. Of course, man.
100%.
But dude, it's
100%,
an
yes.
all-inclusive event. Anybody can join up. Go follow. The link is in this description. Go follow the Sick and Wrong Film
Second one.
Festival so
Yeah.
that we can stay abreast of Fat Fleshy Fingers as well as the debacle. Because
For
look what happens. Look, you get this pin. Look at this pin.
that
Look at
was
that
that
pin.
was yeah. That was
Only if you
only
complete.
if you complete. Only the people who completed movies got those pins. Nobody else has gotten those pins.
You don't understand. I never fought in any wars, okay? And God willing, I hope I never do, knock on wood. But this to me, filmmaking is its own war, as any
It's a
filmmaker will
battle
tell
for
you. And
sure.
this feels like a Purple Heart. Sorry, that was inappropriate and wrong. I should not say that. I don't want to take away from
No, sure.
real Purple Hearts in any way, shape, or form. I take back that comment. My point is that it feels like a medal from a filmmaking war that goes
Sure.
on my lapel. That's what I really want. That's right next to my my bloody Nicolas Cage humanity.
Awesome.
That's from Legion M.
Legion
I
M.
was
Yeah.
promoting the screening, and they gave me tons of these, tons of
No,
them.
wow.
Yeah, and I kept a whole bunch, and I just love Nicolas Cage covered in blood. It's just like the greatest thing. Enamel pin. I mean, just like the greatest thing ever invented. Just Nicolas Cage's face covered in blood. It's just what you need in your life at all times. For those of you who don't know, Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor.
Did you see Prisoners of the Ghostland?
Shit.
It's
No,
a
not yet. Not
yeah.
yet.
I saw it at a midnight screening at the Florida Film Festival. It's a Science Sono movie starring Nicolas Cage.
Okay, I need to see that.
It's. I will be honest. I wish it moved a little faster. I'll say that.
Wait a minute. Prisoners of the Ghostland. Is this the one where like there's like a dead daughter or some shit?
There's a
And he's a truck
daughter.
driver? Does he set himself on fire at the end?
No. Wait,
Okay,
isn't that
different
Drive
Nicolas
Angry?
Cage.
Was that Drive
No.
Angry? No, okay.
No, in Drive Angry, he drinks whiskey from a skull.
Oh, wow.
I love Nicolas Cage, bro. He's got a new movie. I'll tell you, I'm a little mad because I had an idea for a truffle pig. I had a truffle pig idea where the truffle pig was the MacGuffin. They steal a valuable truffle pig that can find the most valuable truffles. I swear to God, I had that idea in my bank. I email myself good ideas.
Yeah.
In the bank. And as soon as I heard that they were making a movie about a truffle pig,
Is that what Pig is about?
that's what that is about. It's about a truffle pig, and it gets kidnapped, and Nicolas Cage has to get revenge. And I was like, so
you bastards.
No, I was like, you bastards.
Oh, you're.
Here's all my money.
Yeah. If anybody's gonna do it, yeah.
Right. I'm on a quest to see every Nicolas Cage film ever made, and I'm in no rush.
Yeah, you can take your time.
But I watch all of them, every bad direct to video. I can tell you, I have watched them all, and I'll tell you something. If you actually can sit through some of these travesties, you are rewarded with treasures, like just the best. And you know what's sad? It's like a group activity. It's like something you want to do with other people.
Yeah,
but like nobody wants to watch direct to video Nicolas Cage films. So you just gotta do it by yourself.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to do a screening, a watch party for Left Behind.
You know, I haven't seen it either, and I only came to one of your watch parties. I always wanted to go, and it's always at the most inconvenient time. Although one time I did come in for one of those like Beastmaster 2 or something.
Deathstalker 2, yeah.
One of those.
That was a blast. Fucking
whoa. Oh my God. Con Air 2. Stop it, Bob. Stop it. Stop it. Yes, I would love that. From LA, Nick Cage style. Chef motherfucking kiss. Listen, for those of you out there who really want to hear some good Nick Cage, I was on a podcast called the Pitch It Movie Podcast. Shout out to Sean and Pete and Will. And what they do is we pitch a movie that we make up on the spot, and it was at the height of Firefest debacle that had happened.
Right.
And so we pitched Fire Island, but spelled FYRE. Written by Nicolas Cage, directed by Werner Herzog, and starring Nicolas Cage. And it's directed by Werner Herzog, written by Stephen King, starring Nicolas Cage. Fire Island. Baby.
Listen, I want to make it clear, I would never, ever wish somebody in recovery to slip out of it. But I wish I could teleport a movie from cokehead Stephen King's past into the future. You know, like bring a script from that. Yeah, and have it now.
Have him work with Nicolas Cage. I think it would just be it would just work so well. By the way, Chris is suggesting we need to make rubbery fleshy pins.
Chris,
good idea.
Chris, I can't say anything.
Oh, can't say anything.
But thank you for saying that.
Stare at Nicolas Cage's bloody face. You forget all this to be forgotten. I think. Hey. We got to wind this down. Actually, I did not think Color Out of Space was that hard, Mark. I'll be honest with you. I had high hopes going in, and you know what? As it turns out, Richard Stanley's a piece of shit anyway, and now I feel perfectly comfortable saying that I didn't think Color Out of Space. I kept my thoughts to myself because I don't believe in tearing movies down. Most certainly not. But I was not. I was very underwhelmed by Color Out of Space. That's all I'm going to say. And Richard Stanley's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Richard Stanley is definitely a piece of shit. I did not know before I watched Color Out of Space. Um, I watched Color Out of Space, and I liked it, but I will say that it was no Mandy for sure. Like, there's never like Panos Cosmatos and Nicolas Cage together created something.
Oh,
Fuck,
you're a Mandy guy. You're a
I
Mandy
love
guy.
Mandy. Loved it.
Me too.
Loved it.
I'm
Loved it.
such
Loved
a
it.
like. I literally like I can obsessively watch Mandy over and over again. And I know it was like at the height of like it was super in vogue to be like into like the Rage Cage side of Nicolas Cage at that moment.
I,
But like, oh, that movie is
I'll tell you.
just
I I apologize if I've already told you this, Jeff. Around the time that Mandy came out, they planned a single midnight screening here in Orlando,
yeah,
and I had a bunch of friends who were all excited. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go do Rage. We're gonna do Cage. We're gonna go watch this new Cage movie." And I'm like,
right,
"Okay, I like Nicolas Cage. I'm into Nicolas Cage. I'm not fine." And
right.
then one day, or coming up to the event, I Googled it and realized, holy fuck, this is Panos Cosmatos. Why didn't you guys tell me this was a Panos Cosmatos movie? Because
Yeah.
I was a
He did Beyond the
nut.
Black
I
Rainbow.
loved Beyond Black Rainbow so much.
Never
So,
finished it. I've tried
really?
4 times. Four
You're not
times.
the only person who said that to me.
4 times I've tried to finish. I can't get
I
through it,
loved it.
which
I
is
loved it
shocking.
so much. But as soon as I found out, like, to them, to everybody else, Mandy was a Nick Cage movie, but to me, it was a Panos Cosmatos movie. So I
Right.
went knowing that, because I will tell anybody who hasn't seen it, Beyond the Black Rainbow is paced like a fucking glacier melting. Like, it is
Oh my
slow.
god.
It is plotting, and
It's
I'm a sucker
torturous,
for that
man.
shit. I'm a
Oh my
sucker for that.
god. I couldn't
So
go. I fell asleep every time.
yeah.
Couldn't get through
Oh,
it. I'm
that
sorry,
kills me.
Panos.
It's
Panos, I
I,
love Mandy, but I could not. I
so
love Mandy. We could not get
I
through it.
I went to see Mandy with a bunch of my friends, and they were all nuts over the big cage scenes, right? There's a couple of really big cage scenes in there, but then there's the rest of the movie is very, very Panos. It's very kind of steady, and like that shot, like the speech by the leader.
Yeah, Jeremiah Sands.
Yeah, that scene right there. I could tell that the people that I went there with, who were so excited about seeing Nick Cage go nuts, they were sort of tuning out right there, you know. But me, I was just fucking transfixed. That whole
I
movie,
was captivated the whole time. Can I
entire
tell you my
time.
theory?
Yeah,
Do you want to hear
please,
my theory?
I
Do you
do.
want to hear my theory? Oh my god, here's my theory. By the way, for anybody who likes Mandy, I interviewed the Cheddar Goblin on
Oh
my
yeah.
channel. You can go watch that. I spoke to Cheddar Goblin about what it was like working with Nicolas Cage. No, I really did. I swear
No,
it's
no,
on my channel. I
I
did a
believe.
2-hour deep dive about Mandy, but I'm going to tell you about my favorite theory. By the way, perfect double feature. Bob, this is for you too. Bob in the comments. Bob Rose. Guys, the best double screening feature with Mandy, fucking Legend by Wrigley Scott.
Okay,
Thematically,
I see it.
fucking perfect.
I see it.
Fucking perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and here is my theory. Here is my theory about Mandy. Ready? Mandy is not actually dead.
Okay.
The entire movie, and I know this sounds like such a cliche cop out, but I'll tell you why it works. The entire movie is Mandy's happily ever after, super bored revenge fantasy. She is living out her happily ever after with Nick Cage. Everything is okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she imagines what happens if she were to die
yeah, yeah.
and how much Nicolas Cage loves her, Red, and how he would go after the people that kill her. And here's why I believe this. And the fantasy takes off. The fantasy takes off when she reads her paperback, her pulp paperback, and she invokes the world that she's reading about in the book.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
at the end of the movie, spoilers if you haven't seen Mandy, at the end
Go watch it.
of mother motherfucking theatrical cut, motherfucker. I don't fuck around with that director's bullshit. I want the fucking happy ending with Tangerine Dream. I love that Bob asked that question. Though. This is my Bob. Bob is my spirit animal. So, so check this out. Ready? When the third moon, when she's talking about the third moon, suddenly we are transported into her fairy tale revenge fantasy because she is bored of her happily ever after. A lot of people complained that Mandy had no plot. They just were not fucking looking. It's
Yeah.
loaded to the gills with plot. Fucking Red is a recovering alcoholic who fucking relapses hard when Mandy dies.
Yeah,
Notice
yeah.
that he doesn't take a drink when he's offered a beer as he's getting into the helicopter at the very beginning of the movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then finds the stashed vodka bottle and just starts chugging it once Mandy, because that's what Mandy imagines that he would do, that he would just cartoonishly
Break down,
chug
yeah.
vodka and start screaming. And then we realize that he is a man capable of great violence when he goes to retrieve the hunter, his crossbow, right?
Right, right.
But here's how we know she's not really dead. Because at the end of the movie, when he's driving away and he's imagining about the first time that they met, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
never even said, it's just implied so brilliantly. This movie does not tell you shit. It shows
It's
you.
all show,
You
yeah.
have to, it's all show, no tell. Brilliant screenwriting. At the very end of the movie, you see the three fucking moons as he's driving away. This is Mandy's
This is Mandy's
fantasy. And then at the
fantasy.
very end of the credits, you see a picture of Red as a tiger, or like Red and the tiger on her drawing board. This Mandy has drawn, she, as she's drawing this picture of Red and the tiger, she imagines what would happen if she was killed by this cult
Yeah.
and what Red would do to fucking, get his revenge.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds plausible to me. I
That's
will
my theory,
I'll
and I'm
keep that in
sticking to it.
mind next time I watch it. I want to say two things real fast.
Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
the bathroom scene, the vodka scene,
Yes.
my heart was fucking breaking. And then the dudes I went to see the movie with all started laughing, and I was like, "What is wrong with you people? What is like?" Because again, we came in very different mind spaces. They were there to see Nick Cage go crazy, and I was there to
Right.
see a Panos Cosmatos movie. So like that scene where he's losing it in the bathroom and chugging the vodka, it hurt like I was dying. And it's just so threw me out of my moment to hear these guys just cackling with glee. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's just me being old and grumpy. Um, I'm not
Curmudgeon-y.
curmudgeon. I don't want to pressure you. I'm not going to be that guy. You tried 4 times. You did your due diligence. I was just curious whether
Eventually, I'll
any.
get to it.
I mean, were any of those 4 times after you had seen Mandy? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Oh,
I
really?
think
Okay.
2 of them were after I had seen
Hey,
Mandy. I went back and I said, "I have to
leave
get through this movie
my
because
glasses alone.
Mandy was so fucking brilliant." I
Yeah.
knew it was gonna be brilliant. I knew it was gonna be brilliant in the trailer. I don't watch movies twice in the theater. I rarely ever do that. I went back a second time for Mandy. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was about that movie, and like I said, it's one of those movies I could just turn on. There's just so much going on. Like, for
So
instance,
dense.
her scar, like
Yeah.
they've never, the
Nothing.
unexplained
Just.
scar on her face, it's just there. Clearly it like has everything to do with her past, and that she came from some sort of abuse and blah blah
Mhm.
blah, and now she's with Red and they live in the woods and everything's great. And it's so interesting because it takes place in 1983, and so that makes you think that like Red is probably born in the 40s, which is really weird.
That.
Really,
Wow.
really weird.
Yeah.
So
Man,
I
God,
don't know,
such a good
man.
movie. Now I want to watch it. Like it's 10 o'clock at
Yeah, I
night. I
kind of
want
want
to
to
go
watch it
watch
right
this.
now. It really is. It's a phenomenal film, and it got caught up. First it was like, yeah, Rage Cage, and then it was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just liking it because like you just like it because like whatever. It's not even like a good movie, or like there's no plot, blah blah blah. I was like, nah, man, you just don't get it,
You're just
man.
not paying
You don't
attention. Yeah.
see,
It's
you're not
so
paying
good.
attention to the stuff that's going on here, and um, even just down to like the cult, and there's the Horn of Abraxas, which I guess I didn't know this is like a Bible thing that I
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
know about.
yeah.
And and I mean, Cage doesn't even really say that much. He's super,
No,
he's super sparse, man. He's super sparse. But
they
listen, yeah,
yes.
go ahead. What were you gonna
No,
say?
no,
What were
I
you gonna
was
say?
just gonna complain about how the trailers, just like trailers for everything, they kind of cherry pick all the moments. Like they cherry pick that moment of Cage going crazy evil, and like that's not. I mean, it's fine. It's just not
Actually, that was my
the
least
tenor.
favorite scene.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He
It's
did
not the
so much
tenor of the
explain.
movie. It's not
Right,
the
right.
yeah.
And he
It's
did so
but
much
it shows up in
explaining
the
in that.
yeah,
Like, why did he
yeah,
have to say that? Why did he even have to
yeah.
say crazy evil? Why couldn't he have just said, like, he didn't even have to say Jesus freaks. He could have just said, like, he could have actually just said crazy evil and nothing more. It
And then
was like
just
he was
like yeah, I didn't have to like hammer it all out.
spoon-fed
Yeah,
so much shit. Like, that was the one part of the movie that I actually do not like,
yeah.
And Bob says it best here. He says, Nick Cage is legitimately a great actor. I said it. I have been championing this from the rooftops. Anybody, Chris Etheridge, always, anytime there's some Nick Cage news, he always sends it to me because he knows that I truly
It's
believe,
your
and I
guy.
say this is my credo. There is no such thing as a bad Nicolas Cage performance. It's Nicolas Cage is like tofu. He is going to taste like whatever you season him with.
Yeah,
That I coined
that's a
that.
good yeah.
It's true. What
That's
you
nice,
pair him
yeah.
up with the right director, and you're going to get the best Cage ever. If you
Oh,
pair him
yeah.
up with a weak director, what you're going to get is you're going to get a Cage that's trying to do too many choices. Like, I'm watching this direct to video Cage movie, and he's like an assassin or something. No, he's like a score to settle. It's called a score to settle, and he's just chewing on this beef stick, and you just know that Nicolas Cage is like, oh, you know what? For this scene, I just want to be chewing on a beef stick while I'm executing this guy. What do you think? Like you just know that Nick Cage like made this decision, because that's the thing. Like Nick Cage, he's Magellan. He's a Magellan of acting. He's always searching. He's always exploring new ground. He's always trying stuff. He has his own method of acting called Western Kabuki or
Yeah,
Negro
yeah,
shamanism. And like,
yeah,
when he's acting and people think he's being over the top, he is legitimately trying to channel German expressionist acting, like in a very serious way, like
yeah.
not trying to be cartoony, not trying to be ridiculous. Like he's like watching old silent films and being like, I'm gonna go like this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it just it's just fucking
I I
crazy.
th I think about him as being like an unbroken wild stallion or something, and if the wrong director, somebody who doesn't have a strong, and I don't mean like bullying. I'm not talking about like that old style Hollywood where the director should be a dick to everybody and yell. I'm talking about a director who doesn't have a strong enough internal voice of their own. Nick Cage is just going to kind of run all over the place. But if you get
Right.
somebody,
No, that's the perfect way to put it.
yeah, yeah,
Perfect way to put it.
uh
You need someone
I'll
you
stop.
need to hone the cage
Yeah,
too. You have to
yeah.
like learn how to hone the cage. And and like I said, I watch all Nick, like for instance, I just finished up the Man trilogy. You know what the Man trilogy is?
Mm-mm.
It's Family Man,
Oh,
Weatherman, and Matchstick Men.
Matchstick
And
Man.
I call it the Man trilogy. Like and then he made the trifecta of the three greatest action films in the 90s. Face Off, fucking
John
Face
Woo.
Off, Con Air, and The Rock. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the holy trifecta of all actiondom, if
And
you ask me.
oh shit, I don't remember who directed The Rock, but I know you got Face Off, you got John Woo, and The Rock, you got Michael Bay. These are directors with huge personalities, like huge visions, huge personal voices of their own. So you put that together with Cage, and you end up with something really fucking memorable.
Right. Right. I mean, just like, and you have to, I've heard, I can't take credit for this, but I think it's so true.
Yeah.
When they're doing Face Off, you have to realize the levels of what Cage is doing in Face Off, and watch it next time. But Cage starts off as Castor Troy. Then he becomes, I forget John Travolta's character's name.
Oh yeah.
He becomes John Travolta,
Are you
right?
sure?
And
That can't be right.
then he goes I think Archer. And then when he goes to prison, he has to pretend to
To
be
be
Castor Troy,
or yeah.
pretending. No, he
Yeah.
has to be Castor. No,
Archer or whatever. John Travolta
Archer pretending to be
to be
Castor
Castor
Troy,
Troy, right.
but actually, like the levels of where your mind has to go And what you end up with is this really funny gif of Nicolas Cage going,
Yeah.
but like
It's I mean, to try to yeah. No, he embraced the premise. He embraced it completely. There was no, there was no hemming, there was no hedging, there was no winking at the camera. Nick Cage said, "Okay, you want me to be a guy who has his face sliced off and replace his mortal enemy's face. I'm in it. I'm fucking committed. Let's do it." There was no there's no, all right, I see what kind of movie this is. No, it's not
and
what Cage does.
and it's funny too. They're doing a sequel, and I
I
see some
heard.
comments in the thing. They're doing a sequel. And it's like a sequel reboot sort of situation, and because it's an unremakeable film. There are certain films that can never be remade ever. I mean, they do attempt to make
They
unremakeable
try. They
films.
did
They
that with
do it all the
RoboCop.
time.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
RoboCop
they do it all the
existed
time.
at a
Right.
moment in time, and you move it outside of that moment, and it's
You're
it's
so right.
it's not that anymore.
RoboCop is a great example of that, and
Mhm.
you couldn't remake Jaws. You can't
Oh
remake
no,
Jurassic Park. You can
no,
reboot these
you can
things
keep
in the
trying.
universe, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But Face Off is that movie where like you will never those are like those roles are so iconic, you will never be able to remake Face Off. But a
Mhm.
great continuation of Face Off, and I don't know where they're gonna go with it, is
Yeah.
John Travolta seeing Castor Troy wherever he goes in his
Oh
mind.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Haunted
you
by
can
the
bring
yeah,
both.
yeah,
Yep, you can bring them both back and have them have
yeah,
scenes together and do all sorts of shit, and it's just like, it will work like gangbusters,
yeah.
truly like gangbusters. But, I hate to put a pin in this conversation because
No,
I could literally talk about this fucking forever. Let's close out our wonderful conversation that was
sounds
not
good to
supposed to
me.
be this long,
Sorry.
with don't apologize. I'm the friggin' I'm the motor mouth. We have to remake Chud because we said we
Oh,
were gonna
that's right,
remake Chud,
Chud.
and I think
Oh
this is
man.
gonna start right off the
Okay.
bat, starring Nicolas Cage. Nicolas
Starring
Cage
Nicolas
is
Cage.
the star, right? Who is Nicolas Cage? For those of you who don't know, Chud is about cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers that rise up out of the New York City sewers, and they're eating people, and it's an ecological disaster. So how do we update that for today, modern
Okay.
times?
I think Nick Cage takes over the Daniel Stern role, and
So he's homeless. So he's
he's
homeless.
instead of a literally underground homeless community, he is the like supervisor of a what do they call it? Shit, a safe injection site.
Okay.
I mean, transfer instead of being homeless being homelessness being the specific issue over to like uh addiction, like the chuds end up being, because in the movie the chuds were um
They were homeless people
they
that became chuds.
right, so we kind of the first thing I think is like a drug thing, like an addiction thing.
Okay. Can I
I you,
I don't wanna fight with you about this, but I
it's okay.
feel very passionately about disagreeing with you, and
Okay.
instead, I wanna resurrect Stanley Goodspeed from The Rock,
Okay.
okay? No, just hear me out, hear me out.
Sure.
Stanley is now a city planner in New York City,
Okay.
okay? So he's kinda like John Heder,
So you're putting
but
him in sort of the villain role?
no, he's not a villain.
Okay.
He's like a city planner who takes over, and he has a past from being on The Rock, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he's got that action background. So I'm like combining The Rock with fucking Chud. He's now in civil, what is it, like civil service? So he's a
Civil
civil servant.
civil
He's in
engineering, like civil
Yeah,
planner, civil planning,
kind of.
civic
'Cause he was
planning,
a smart guy.
civic
He was a
yeah,
smart
yeah.
guy. He was a
Yeah, yeah.
scientist that worked for the FBI, and now he's in, like, city government
What do you ca
and
he's like
into urban
a
planning,
chemical super
community.
freak, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a chemist super freak, and he's been brought onto this project because they are okay, because Elon Musk, who's making fucking these batteries, which are supposed to be eco-friendly, have chemical runoffs that they're not telling anybody about that are leaking into the sewers
Mhm.
of New York City.
Okay.
And now we're gonna tie it back into your plot. The Daniel Stern character who we need to cast I'm overriding. That's what we have to go this way. We have to go this way. But I'll
Okay.
let you take it over. You take it over. It has to be a collaboration.
Okay.
Your Daniel Stern character is running a safety prevention needle center that gets attacked by the chuds. What happens? What
Okay.
happens, Steve?
So, okay. So first of all, it's Laverne Cox playing the Daniel Stern character this time around.
Okay, love it. Love it. Great.
So the chuds are attacking the safe injection site, and her regulars are disappearing. She's a witness. Okay.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna believe her because they think that she's a junkie lover, right?
Right.
So
Right. Is she in recovery? Is she used to be a junkie and comes back for it? Or
I mean, I think that's a pretty safe. I don't know.
Because I mean that's like
it
the
kind of it
cliche
treads this
backstory.
line. Yeah, it treads this line. Like we never really learned it. Like whether I don't know. Stern was. I guess he was homeless
He
too.
was homeless in
Yeah,
the
in the
original. He was
movie.
homeless. In any case, they don't. I'm just going on the promise of why they wouldn't believe her, and maybe they wouldn't believe her
Right,
if she was
right.
a recovering junkie or something.
Yeah. So that's solid. Or
You got it,
even if
Bob.
she's not, maybe that's the big secret is that like everybody assumes she is, but maybe she was just somebody who took this issue very seriously.
No, you know what it
And
is? People assume. How about this? People assume that she is a junkie, but it was her mother who was
there
a
we go.
junkie,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
she does this, and we don't get this reveal until she's deep in the sewers with Nicolas
Yes, with Nicolas
Cage.
Cage. Yeah.
Now, how do you connect the two? The baby, because his fiance was pregnant in The Rock.
In The Rock,
that
right?
baby grows up to either she is homeless on the street and she's in the active throes of her addiction, or she volunteers with Cox.
With the organization, whatever it is. Yeah, I
Right.
think she's a volunteer. I think the kid's a volunteer.
Fine.
And
She
and
volunteers
maybe
and she goes missing. She goes missing under
there we go.
she gets kidnapped, and now the two of them have to team up. Cox and fucking Cage have to team up.
Cox and
go into
Cage.
the sewers. Yep.
I'm into it.
They
I'm
have
into
to
it.
rescue the daughter.
How do we take a pitch meeting? How do we get a pitch meeting these days? What do we do? What do we have to do?
But this is my favorite fucking. And I'm sorry for being forceful about getting my.
No, it's fine.
I
I love it. I wouldn't have put. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, hold on. Okay, so who is our bad guy though? Because you got the chuds. Elon Musk is our bad guy, or
I guess we need like an Elon Musk analog, right? So we need. I'm only getting easy answers right now, like Eisenberg, but that's not gonna. That's too easy. That's just on the nose there.
Right.
We need somebody kind of somebody with some charisma to them, but still sleazy.
Okay, how about
believably
this?
sleazy.
How about an actor who's a spokesperson for a thing that has the chemical runoff?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Stanley Goodspeed is familiar with the chemicals.
With the chemicals,
he's been brought in
yeah.
because they have these unnaturally high levels, and because he's Stanley Goodspeed, he turns the whole
the chemical super freak.
He's a chemical super. He's like, all right. He's like, I can't even work in here if there's no vinyl. Get me some Beatles immediately. So they're like playing the Beatles, and he's like doing this chemist thing, and he's playing guitar, and they're like, Mr. Goodspeed, you can't play that guitar in here because there's chemicals. He's like, shut up. He's like, don't you know what happened to me on The Rock? You know.
Oh God, don't Google the year Rock came out, because that was probably
1996. It's
96. Oh my God.
Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Carla was the prom queen.
Are you the Rocket Man? No, he's like says something about the Rocket Man. He goes, actually, you are the Rocket Man. Nicolas Cage would have been the perfect Superman, and I'll tell you why. Not just Bob. You're gonna love this, Bob. If Bob's still in the comments. Nicolas Cage would make the perfect Superman, not for his Superman, for his approach as Clark Kent. He would have been such like a human version of Clark Kent. He would have brought so much pathos to that role that he would have just his Superman would have been fine, but his Clark
Yeah,
Kent would
yeah.
have been
Would have
mwah,
been, yeah.
fucking
Clark
excellent.
Kent, like all the actors, I have not watched a wealth of Superman movies. I have not watched. In fact, I had to God,
Oh
Dunstan.
shit, Dunstan
Dunstan's back. I haven't seen a wealth of Superman movies, but to me, it seems like the actors who play Superman put all their energy into the Superman part, and then the Clark part is kind of like an afterthought for them, you know. But I think you're right. I think if Cage were in this position, he would put a lot of thought into Clark and what.
Oh, he would.
Clark.
He would. It would be all Clark. It would be all Clark. It would be all man and no super. I really believe that. I really, really, really believe that. I got to tell you, Steve, this was fun. Truly, I'm gonna.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
it's
blast.
never gonna stop.
We'll just keep going,
buddy. Yeah, you fucking rock. I've got like so much shit to do that I didn't get done because I just love talking about Nicolas Cage.
Well, thanks for having me on here, man. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
Yes, and Q, you can hear Steven and I and some of our other friends talk about movies on this channel. We have to get back to that. When I get back from my I'm going out of the country. When I get back, when I get back from my trip, we will definitely reconvene for another disc episode. We'll get the band back together.
Get the band. I got some Blu-rays. But
so do I. 16 Samurai.
Oh,
oh my God! Syndrome.
Tell me, please. All right, I'll try to make this super fast. So I bought Jungle Trap and I bought Scary Tales on a whim because I was never into that shot on video stuff. I never watched much of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah,
I expected to watch these and be like, okay, that's fine. I watched them and they have burrowed into my fucking brain, man. I can't shake it. I am desperately trying to talk myself out of buying the year-long membership for next year and just getting every release that comes. I can't afford that. I can't fucking do that.
As Takashi Miike says in Hostel, the only good thing about Hostel, Takashi Miike says, you'll spend all your money there.
Yes, I know. I gotta stay away. But this Jungle Trap has killed me. It's like so beautifully sincerely bad, and it's
got heart.
It's got the heart. Oh my God, it's got so much heart. It just like throbs. I can't. Fuck. Anyway, I got to pick a different one if we do the Blu-ray thing again because I just spoiled myself.
I just did the same thing. Actually, I saw one title on your letterbox that I just ordered the Blu-ray of, and it might still be available. Do you want to know what it is, real quick?
You give me a hint. Give me a quick hint. Tiny hint.
The story takes place in space.
Shit,
stars Dennis Hopper.
There's a Blu-ray of Space Truckers. Oh man,
fucking dude! It's like, and I'll tell you something. This company, they're called
Square Pigs
Entertainment, I think.
They
put out the best releases. The region free. Go check it out if that's something that that movie means a lot to me because of Stuart Gordon. So I was like, I had to have it. That I felt like that was definitely a worthy purchase. I also bought Psycho Gorman as a blind buy. I'm really glad I did that.
It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah,
a lot of fun. That guy. Although I will say, I was watching the commentary and the director's like every word of it. I was like, yeah, I just thought that was a really stupid idea. So I decided to do everything.
That sounds right.
He's so funny. He's like, let me see if I can make the stupidest movie I ever made. That's like the place that he came from when he was making the movie, but it made rewatching it with the commentary so much better because it's like, okay, I see like why.
Yeah.
And it really works. Okay, that's it.
All right.
You're cut off. Go away. All right. Have a good one, Steven.
Thanks,
Good
Jeff.
luck to you.
Thank you
guys,
very much.
Out the Kickstarter. Check out the links. If I don't say goodbye, then we're never going to say goodbye. And we have a nice way of saying goodbye on the show. We say peace. And